I was a chronic insomniac, so I would go for no hours.
Description is heroic snoring. Not you are a complete bastard snoring.
For those of you who don't know what glymphatics are, it's basically the lymphatic system of your brain.
Do you know, in your case, they're not called lymphatics. They're called glamphatics because you're so glamorous. Hello and welcome to our show. Her name is
Ali Francis, and his name
is Stephen Conway. She still has the delay. She's like, we've practiced it a million times and she still gets shocked by it. And one day she'll get it bang on. So today we're talking everything sleep. So it's all about, just to let you know, the show is all about inspiration in a very short amount of time. Save you watching 3-hour podcasts and you just want a daily dose of inspiration. Well, you get it in under 30 minutes with Stephen and Ali. And today we're talking sleep. So what's the quote of the day, Ali?
Hey, the quote of the day is: a well-rested body is the vessel for enlightened mind and a joyful spirit.
That's so true, so true. Mm-hmm. So, do you want to start with, first of all, our own personal experiences? So do you want to start with your personal experiences around sleep, and then I'll tell my personal experiences, and then we'll go into our tips? All
right, then. So personally, my personal experience with sleep is that by the age of 26, 27, I was a chronic insomniac. So I would go for no hours, 1 hour, 3 hours, and then I would crash for a couple of days because I'd feel so ill. And it went on for years. I ended up with ulcers in my mouth, acne rosacea, terrible digestion, so depressed, like I just wanted the world to open up and swallow me up, and I really did not know what to do with myself. So my mother offered me one of her sleeping pills, and I really didn't want to take it. I did for 1 or 2 nights, and I honestly felt worse having taken those pills the following day.
Did they work? Did they actually knock you out, but then you didn't feel any better afterwards, or what was the actual outcome?
Well, the thing with sleeping pills is sleeping pills are like an anaesthetic, right? So when you have a sleeping pill, you do not get the normal sleep cycles. So it messes up your REM sleep.
Right.
So you basically
you don't get the deep sleep. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you probably get some deep sleep, but you don't get the REM sleep. It messes up your REM sleep.
Right.
So it's basically making you unconscious. So it's fantastic in as much as you just want some respite from the world. You just want someone to just shut you down because you just do not want to be conscious. You want to be unconscious. So that is fabulous. But waking up, you don't feel any better. You don't feel like your brain's done the work, because when you're asleep, your brain is doing all the cleansing and the clearing. There's the glymphatics. For those of you who don't know what glymphatics are, it's basically the lymphatic system of your brain. So imagine the cleaners are going in with their sweeping and their brushes, and they're scrubbing down. Yeah. Because during the day you build up a sort of like a plaque in your brain. So
do you know in your case they're not called lymphatics? They're called glamphatics because you're so glamorous.
I wish.
Wouldn't it be great if we had our own little name, our own terms for certain cells or things that functions in our own body that all relate to how gorgeous we all are.
We can come up with some for both of us, Stephen. I can come up with a few for you for sure.
It's like my own personal thing around sleep. I have been a huge snorer for many years, and we're going to talk in another episode about my sleep apnea that I had. And interestingly enough, talking about the unique names, so male. This has got to have been named by a male doctor, because the top of the range snoring, the medical description is heroic snoring, not you are a complete bastard snoring, and you kept me awake all last night, you complete fucker. It's actually
I tell you what,
it's heroic snoring.
if I had you next to me snoring, I would be wringing your neck.
Exactly. However, I have solved it, and that is a story for another day. However,
Yes.
not only did but I had another issue as well around sleep, and that was too stimulated at night by a variety of things, whether it be too much food in my belly, too much sugar, too much alcohol, too many drugs when I was younger, too many prescription pills, too much in the way of phone stimulation, you name it. Okay, I was really good at night, and partly because I was so tired that it was the thing that sort of boosted my dopamine levels was actually doing things to excess in the evening, whether it be food, alcohol, sugar, and usually all of the above, that then meant I had a very disturbed night, and add to that my snoring. I would wake up feeling absolutely horrendous every morning, and I would then have to then fight through the day with coffee and more stimulants just to get me through the day. And I would be looking forward to that evening when I could actually open a bottle of wine to deal with the fact that I've had a shit day. But actually, you're not realizing that that continual cycle was just making things worse. However, now I have a set of tips that I've worked on over the years that have really worked for me. So should we start with your tip number one?
My tip number one has got to be a wind down. I know we've all heard it before. We've all heard about blue light and all that, but no one does it. No one does it. When I do work with clients and I say, look, I'd like you to put your phone on aircraft mode, wind down, and don't look at blue screens and everything else. Then when I get their diary in, no one really does it. It's really difficult to actually extract yourself from this flipping thing.
Yes.
This thing. It's really, really difficult, but there's so much research. Just ask Google about melatonin production and blue light. So let me just explain quickly what melatonin is. Melatonin is not the thing that sends you to sleep. Melatonin is the thing that prepares your body for sleep. So what it does is it tells your body to slow down, breath rate down, heart rate down, body temperature down, your digestive system down. So it's actually turning everything down to set the scene for the sleep. And melatonin is light sensitive. Therefore, blacking out, so this is now my second tip, but then I'll pass you back to Stephen, he can give you another tip of his. So the other thing is either you've got to have a very dark room or you've got to have a sleep mask or something, because I'm very sensitive to noise, snoring, any noise. I'm very sensitive to if there was a buzz or a ticking clock, anything like that. And I'm very sensitive to light, so I need complete darkness and complete silence in order to get a good night's sleep. But in order for the melatonin to start being produced, we've got to have some lights going down. And the thing that actually sends you to sleep is the sleep pressure, which is the adenosine. It's a big story, but basically you accumulate adenosine during the day, and then at night you metabolize it. So the adenosine is the thing that makes you feel like, oh my God, I can go to sleep standing up. When you're traveling and you haven't slept for, that 24 hours almost, it feels like you could sleep standing up. That's the sleep pressure, the adenosine building up. So that's the thing that actually pushes you to sleep. But if you haven't set the scene properly, despite the fact you've got the sleep pressure, you won't be able to go to sleep because the darkness isn't there, the body's not calmed down, plus the fact you might have, as Stephen was doing, chucking food in, so your body is going, I'm slowing down, my digestive fire is going down, and you're going, I'm just going to chuck something down, and your body's going, well, I've had instructions to slow down, and now you're making me fire up again. So your body's in massive confusion, and everyone seems to be running uphill against nature. So Yeah, so definitely, yeah. So I'm going to pass you over to Stephen because I'll go on forever.
You
I'll
could
go
go
on
on
forever
forever, and I'm
otherwise.
used to that.
Sorry. There's more. We're going to do lots on sleep because it's one of my big things.
Yeah, absolutely. You are the sleep guru after all.
Mm.
My big tips are, I think, are I've got two tied together. And one goes back to the old wives' tale that Mum used to say to me, which is the hours before midnight are worth twice what they are after midnight when it comes to sleep. So, in other words, an hour. You having a smashing time, love?
Sorry, I just turned my phone off.
Yeah,
Talking of which, sorry about
yes.
that.
And now you're just causing chaos, as always. It's all about it's me. It's all about
Sorry,
me.
I'm very sorry. I'm now passing
It's
you over to
like I'm
Stephen.
now going to pass you back to Stephen. No, I'm not. I'm really going to just make lots of noise in the
But I do
background.
have something to add to your tip. So you say it, and then I'm going to add. Go on then. Off you go.
So the hours before midnight are worth double. And actually, I've tested that theory, and it's so true that, if you get the hours before midnight. So the other element of that is to hit your landing slots. So what I tend to find is if I go to bed after 10 o'clock, I've missed my landing slot. Now, what is a landing slot? It's, I suppose, and Ali will be able to give probably the more scientific answer to this, but your circadian rhythms go in like cycles. And for me, I know that my cycle is around about that sort of 8:45 at night to 9:45 at night. And if I if I hit that landing strip between those times, and ideally the more before that I can do. So if I can get in the landing strip at 8:45 or 9 o'clock, which sounds ridiculously early, but oh my God, I feel so much better than I sleep so much better. I get so much more deep sleep in there, and I just wake up so much better. So that's my first tip. Back to you.
Okay, so I'd just like to add something on
Yeah,
that.
that's right. You just come and take my tip and do what one-upmanship. It's like
No,
it was my tip, right? And you now want to own it.
no, we're a team, sweetie. We're a team. So what I miss out, you add in, and what you miss out, I add in.
Just remember,
Yes.
there's only a me in team.
Right. So let me.
Isn't the expression "there's no I in team"? And I'm like, yeah, no, but there is a me.
And the problem is I can never get a word in edgeways, as you can see.
And that's it for the show. Thank you for tuning in. If you've enjoyed it, my name's Stephen Conway, and her name is not worth a mention.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to your tip. Right, so the 24-hour circadian rhythm, if you look at sleep architecture, if you've got a sleep app, you'll see the architecture, sort of like the various graphs, and that's called sleep architecture. And you'll always see deep sleep happening earlier in the evening. So from the hours of about 10:30 p.m. till about 2 a.m., you'll see much more deep sleep happening. And from about 2 a.m. to about 6 a.m., you'll see much more REM sleep happening. And not to say that you don't get REM in the early hours or deep in the later hours, but the majority of the deep is in the early hours, and the majority of the REM are in the lighter hours. And that's because your circadian rhythm is doing something, and every single organ of your body has something it does a specific time. So during the night, your body has so much biological maintenance to do. In deep sleep, it does certain things, and in REM sleep, it does certain things. Now, as Stephen was saying, the slot time, I'm exactly the same. Your body likes to know what it's doing. Your body absolutely loves rhythm. And if you find a slot that works, so my rhythm is the same as Stephen's. I'd love to go to bed at 9. And I find it really serves me. I'm asleep usually by 10, and I'm awake at 5:45 in the morning. If I miss that slot, if I don't go to bed, if I've been out for supper, which of course one does now and then, but I have to say I feel like shit the next day. because I've missed my slot and my body hasn't had the right amount of sleep cycles. So you go through about 5 sleep cycles through the night. But have a look, because it's very, very interesting. And when you get into a rhythm, you'll start to see that your body wants to do the deep sleep earlier. And if you're one who goes to bed at 1 p.m. or something like that, it's quite likely that you're missing out on some of those sleep cycles. So being in rhythm with nature is the best thing you could possibly do for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. My next tip is to do with temperature. If I, and I'm going to tie another tip to that because it's really important about my temperature management. If I am too warm throughout the night, then I am not going to sleep anywhere near as well. It's going to be quite a disturbed sleep. And I think if you remember rightly, when if you, as a kid, if you went to sleep with socks on, you could sometimes have like nightmares. Sometimes, like if you have cheese, you can have nightmares. Like if you have socks on, you have nightmares. So for me, heat is a massive issue for me and I am one of these people that's normally very hot. And I've realized that the connection to that heat is A, the time I eat, and B, what I eat. So if I eat too late, my heat is going to be elevated. And if I eat the wrong things, my heat is going to be elevated. And then trying to manage that through the night. So for me, because I am naturally very, very warm, I will wear, I'll have 3 very light blankets on top of each other that allow me to breathe still, but actually still retain just enough warmth for me to stay warm during the night. I can, if I then end up getting too cold, so I always have then another blanket just nearby, so that if I then start to get a bit cold, I can then pull that blanket over. But recently we have invested in a 8 Sleep, which is actually a temperature management system for the bed, which is really, really cool. And I definitely highly recommend it. If you check it out, it's 8sleep.com. And we'll talk about that, I think, in another episode or at the end of this episode. So that's over to you.
Great. Well, I'd like to add something to your tip.
See, here she goes again.
If you don't mind. So
you can add to me anytime you like.
As Stephen was saying, he gets very hot. And no, I don't think I was saying it on this one, it's another one. But basically, in order for your body to go into a deep sleep, your core body temperature has to drop. Therefore, that's why they say your bedroom should always be a little bit cooler and not too hot. And that's why most people have a problem if they're too, even I have a problem if I'm too hot. I have to have dark, no noise, and exactly the right temperature. Just because I'm such a light sleeper. So, but your body naturally has to have your core temperature dropping in order to go into a deep sleep. So if you're too hot, you won't sleep very well at all.
Do you know, if I actually, say for example, have alcohol at the weekend, or I eat a bigger meal, 2 things I do is, number 1, I will actually just stay up a little bit longer because I'd rather that I go to bed but in order to help force that to happen, I'll then go and have a cold shower before bed. And then some people will go, what the fuck are you doing having a cold shower? Well, that would wake me up. But actually for me, because I'm naturally quite a hot person, and I think more men tend to be more heat driven. But I then find that if I have I'll start with the water, I won't go straight into a cold shower. Okay, let me just say, I will not walk into a cold shower, but I will go and I'll have a normal shower. And then just before I step out, I switch it on to the cold and stay under there for as long as possible. And then when I get into bed, I'm getting into my nice, lovely warm sheets. I'm cold. I pull the sheets over on top of me, get a bit snuggly, and I can find that speeds up my ability to hit my landing strip. And even if I miss my landing strip, it can sort of just speed up that time to get because my body temperature is already on the way down. It sort of shortens that time for me to get sleep. And that's like my little hack to get round if I do miss my landing slot, or if I do eat too much or have wine. Forcibly cooling my body down doesn't always work, but on quite a few occasions it really does just help me get into that deep sleep.
Yeah, no, that's a very good idea. Very good idea. So
do you ever? You probably wouldn't do cold showers because you would find that just
I just
quite, because you've got you're all skin and bones, you aren't you? You wouldn't do,
Thank you. I see the value of it, and I do see the value of it, but I really, really would struggle getting into that cold water, into the cold water.
How do you then, because you're in Italy, and I can imagine in the winter it's blooming cold in your bedroom, so therefore you're probably snuggled under lots of duvets and stuff.
Yeah.
But in the winter, no, sorry, not the winter, in the summer, where it's really hot, what do you do to get to sleep?
Well, I manage the heat upstairs by closing all the shutters and windows when it's boiling hot in the morning. Close everything. And then you've got those
big terracotta tiles, floor and everything.
Yes.
Keeps that cool. Okay.
Coolish.
Does it keep it cool enough?
I wouldn't say it does, but the fact that I have a fan and I keep everything closed, that's the key. Don't let the heat in. Shutters, windows, outside shutters, inside shutters, windows, and a decent fan. But I have to say, I would like to get one. I would like to get one of those sleep 8 things, especially for the summer, more so for the summer than the winter, so that I can
sleep
sort of
8. She would like to get one of those.
I would like to get one of those sleep 8s.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more.
So I would like to get one of those, and who knows, I may well get one of those. But yeah, so but I have to say, I am disturbed if I'm too hot in the summer, because it can be like 40 degrees, so it can be really,
do you know what I did
hot.
when I went to Elba once and it was 40 degrees and there was no...
You got in a cold bath.
I did. Throughout the night, and I tell you what, it worked an absolute treat, because they had no ventilatore left on the island because they'd all sold out, and ventilatore, for those who are thinking what on earth is that's a fan, a portable fan. And they had no air conditioning. So this flat that we were staying in Elba Port was so hot. I mean, it was off the charts hot, because we were up on the 3rd or 4th floor. And so what I did was I poured myself a full bath of cold water, and I must have got into it 4 or 5 times a night. But I tell you what, oh my God, I was straight back to sleep after getting in one of those.
Yeah, there you are. Well, I did think about getting one of the, not an ice bath exactly, but not having it ice, but they have a temperature gauge. You can have the water cold, but not freezing cold. Okay. So I was thinking about getting one of those and sticking it outside for the summer, because I don't have a pool yet.
So you would do that before bed, or if you woke up during the night?
Before bed.
Before, yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I have, we've got our, it's a large paddling pool rather than a plunge pool, but we use it as a plunge pool. And I will, if I'm too hot, it is, rather than a cold shower, which can actually sort of take time, so you've got to stand on there for a while, whereas actually just going and submerging yourself in a massive pool of cold water, it does really, really work. It is fantastic. But I have lots of people who just go, what on earth are you diving into a cold pool? When I do it every morning, come rain or shine. Come rain or shine. Did it this morning. Freezing cold.
Complete nutter, Mr. Conway. Yeah. But anyway, so my next tip is, if you are having a sleep issue, one of the things that you need to do is you really need to decide or work out why you're having a sleep issue, because sleep issues do not manifest overnight. They're manifesting over time. And the problem in the West, what we do is we're very tactical. So we try a bit of this, try a bit of that, and people say, well, I've done melatonin and I've done this and I've done that, but we haven't really worked out what the cause is. So by actually doing a deep dive and a bit of a sleep audit, what are you doing? What have you been doing over the last 5 years? What's your emotional well-being like? What's your diet being like? Are you carrying any angst and anger? There's lots of different things that can cause deep anxiety that then manifests in a sleep issue. So it's very useful to really take a long, hard look. And it could be something as simple as what you're eating in the evening, what time you're eating in the evening, and what the food is, like Stephen was saying. So don't always just go straight for the tactics. Have a think about some of these things that we've been saying and have a think, right, what am I doing? Because usually we're the ones that cause our own sleep issues. It's unless you've got something weird and wonderful going on. Most of the time it's emotional, or it's something that we actually lifestyle related that we haven't realised what we're doing. So it could be things like, I know coffee, everyone goes, oh, I don't drink the coffee, but you've got to remember that it takes your body about 8 hours or 5 hours to metabolize 50% of the caffeine. So if you have a coffee at lunchtime, you probably haven't even metabolized it properly by the time you go to bed. And by the way, some people have better ability to metabolize caffeine than others.
Absolutely.
With some people in Italy, they'll drink an espresso
before bedtime.
Before they go to bed.
Yeah,
if I did that, I'd be awake for 4 days. So.
I think it's what you get to, what you learn to tolerate, isn't it? It's like if you're used to doing it.
Yeah, your body develops a way of managing. That's why the human body is so absolutely incredible, because we're actually very adaptable and we are wired up for survival, and the body will do its very best. But the trouble is if you force your body to go uphill against nature for long periods of time, eventually your body will start going, hello, I can't do this anymore, I'm tired, you've messed me up, and you get so out of rhythm. And once you've lost like if I lose my sleep rhythm, it takes me quite a long time to get back into it.
Well, I've got another tip for that, and that is do your ablutions, i.e. brush your teeth, shower or bath or what have you, earlier in the evening. So like if, say for example, you've just finished eating and, you're like, right, I'm going to now sit down and watch a bit of TV. Well, I have found can be very helpful is actually, maybe watch a little bit of TV, just relax while you just let things digest. But before you get really into then watching a whole load of TV, is go and brush your teeth, prepare yourself for bed, go and have a shower or bath, prepare yourself for bed before you then come back down and watch the last bit of TV or read a book. And the reason being is twofold. Number one, it's then out of the way. So when you feel that sleep onset coming on, you can drive straight into bed, snuggle up and just go to sleep as quickly as possible. Whereas modern lighting, the way it is in a lot of houses, is it shines down from the ceiling. So if you feel sleepy having just watched TV and you're like, right, I'm ready to go to bed, what do you then go and do? You go and do something that in nature is the wake up call. So if you think about it, what do? You go out in the morning, you go out into the outside, and where's the sun? It's above you. So the receptacles for your wake up part of the brain, if I'm right, I understand, are in the lower part of the eye. So if you have downlighting in your bathroom, that's immediately going to trigger you back into, it's daytime. So therefore, if you do it early and then start winding down, so one of the things you can do is start dimming the lights in your, wherever your lounge is while you watch TV, put some candles on, turn out the main light, just allow that to dim. Then when you then feel that sleep onset happening, dive straight up, you've brushed your teeth, the bed's ready, you're feeling all yummy because you're all clean, having had a bath or a shower. You dive into those sheets and it's like, I am going to sleep. And I would then, if I'm not quite feeling that sleep of the sleep onset, I suddenly feel like I'm waking up a little bit, I'll then grab a book. And then that's the other thing that just then takes my mind off anything that might be stressing me. Dive into a nice, lovely book, read about 3 or 4 pages, and boom, I'm gone.
Yeah, no, it's a really nice idea. I like that idea because also it's a bit like when your day's finished and you go and even if you do that even before you, I know you won't brush your teeth before you go and have your dinner, but actually taking the day off, like when you finish your day and you have that sort of switch over from finishing work or finishing your day to relaxation mode, just having your shower and putting something comfortable on and washing your face and feeling all lovely and snuggly, that's like a whole layer of stress taken off.
Yeah.
So it's really, I really like that idea of taking
what as well
yourself off.
you can add to it as well, which is something we all hate to do, but if you make your bed in the morning so that it's all ready for when you get into the bed in the evening, nothing nicer than getting into, there's nothing worse than making a bed in the morning. It's like, I haven't got time, I'm really not, I've got to get moving, I'm late, I'm blah blah blah, even though we lie in bed looking at our phone for half an hour. So all this kind of stuff about we haven't got time to make our bed. We have time to make our bed. Just stop looking at your blooming phone. And then, although you hate it at the time because you're like, oh, I hate this. But then once it's done, you go, oh, I've made my bed. And then later on, you get the real lovely feeling of, oh, I'm climbing into a really lovely made bed. There's nothing better, especially if it's got clean sheets. Oh, clean sheets and a nicely made bed. Can't beat it.
Well, I have some advice for you, Stephen, on that one.
What? You're going to climb into my clean sheet? Oh.
No, I'm going to say chunk it up. Because when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I make my bed.
Do you?
I just do it. I get out of bed,
right.
I put my yoga pants on and I make my bed.
Nice.
And I do that before I do my practice because I'm doing my practice and I'm going, oh, my bed looks lovely. And it's all ready for me in the evening. So I don't go, oh, I hate it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. You just chunk it up. It's just like, boom, you do it.
You do it. Anyway, that's
right.
it. We've run out of time.
Yes,
we have run out of time. We hope you've enjoyed today's show. If you have, her name is
Ali Francis and his name
is Stephen Conway. So it's a goodbye from her.
And it's a goodbye from him.